Here, Dan, how are you?
Sure, how are you?
Involved in multiple Twitter spats last night defending your club mates, I should point out, Jonny Cooper.
Hasn't been a club mate in about 9 years. My lapsed membership now, I'm not sure if you'd still call me a club man.
Now, come on, you're an Afina. You bleed blue and yellow, don't you?
At one stage I would have, yeah, but I haven't played in 8 or 9 years.
Look, I'm just painting the picture here that, you know.
You're hanging me out to dry before the washing's even out of the...
So you don't think Jonny Cooper deserved a booking for the challenge yesterday, which has gone viral? I
don't know what else a defender can do. If you remove whoever the defender is, the first man misses the tackle. He's the best place to turn over the ball. He puts his near hand in. He's already at a disadvantage by the fact he's coming in late. He's read the situation. He realises the first defender's beaten and he has to make an effort. I think, had it been a yellow, there wouldn't have been too many complaints for that yellow. But for the first yellow, it looked incredibly harsh. I've watched it back 10 times from the grainy Sunday game footage. They didn't have the best angle of it either.
There's the picture of, so at this point already, Longford are clearly down to 14 because their goalkeeper's been sent off. Gibney's been sent off for the challenge on Cluxton. But the first booking might have been harsh, right? It still was given. And so you have to give the second one because it's actually a booking, at least.
We were talking about this outside. The referees are human and they can try and course correct mistakes they make during a game. I think if the referee had have reflected on the first one and thought maybe there's not a whole lot in that to give a yellow, and I've watched it 100 times, 1,000 times, and I still don't know what else the defender can do. Like, he's unfortunate in that Reynolds is falling, he's coming down, he's losing his balance, so his head is lower than it would be when Cooper comes across to make the tackle. I think it's mistimed, it's not malicious. I think it looks worse when you pause it and blow it up on screen, but in real time, I didn't think there was a lot in it.
The thing about it is that I think that could all be true. That I wouldn't actually say there was any malice in it really, and I think the actual still we've shown there, Ger, actually kind of downplays our argument a little bit. You actually need to see the thing in motion to be able to make a case for it. That being said, I don't think the consequence should be kind of linked up with the intent unless it is very, very obvious. And the fact is, the scenario we were in is that he was on a yellow card and probably should have been given a second one. It was very similar to that Ronan Shanahan incident with Mayo in the league that Lee Keegan hit out at big time. Like, at that point as well, I was kind of coming around, of course there was like a partisan opinion there on my part, but I was feeling to myself, you know, he's high, he hasn't really gone low. It's a player who goes low into him, and he's just got his hand, he's got his arms up, you could say he's almost going
to the shoulder. It was a straight red though. Shanahan incident, was it?
Was it a straight red?
Was it not?
No, it wasn't. I don't think there was any punishment for it.
It most reminds me of do you remember the 2016 replay where Cooper gets black carded after 15 minutes? For Donny Vaughan comes in, makes the tackle. Again, he's going with the near hand. He makes contact with the face. Cooper falls down. That in itself is not a foul, but while he's on the ground, he taps his ankle and Vaughan goes down. It's a deserved black card, but it's almost a carbon copy of... He just got out-muscled. He made a really strong near-hand challenge.
I don't think he gets out-muscled. Talking to Tommy earlier on, who obviously plays club football, he was saying that has the textbook hallmark of somebody who knows exactly what they're doing, because he's done it 1,000 times himself, where it's like, oh, I was going to leave a little bit on this, probably get away with it, and that's what happens. Like, here's the thing, point Owen was making earlier on, which I think is kind of the key point here, is that Dublin are going to be refereed differently this year because Jim Gavin has had this campaign to say we will not be subjected to analysis on the Sunday game anymore. We're not having it. This is infringing our constitutional rights.
The rights of everyone in the Republic are not absolute. So Jim said you have the right to free speech, but it doesn't give you a card, a clear all card to do and just do and say whatever you want. Yeah.
So, and you think that this is kind of what happens here, is that actually that's clearly an incident that should have been, like, so Paspalan last night said he's lucky not to have got sent off. I don't know if he's lucky not to have got sent off because it was a second yellow or because it was a straight red, but it's in that...
It's not a straight red, Ger. It can't be a straight red.
Well, it's a strike. So it's a strike to the face. It could easily be a straight red. If, my point here is that, like, the analysis is getting downplayed because Jim's played that long game, and so everybody's terrified of being on the wrong side of Jim.
Completely. Like,
I'm not so sure he's that intimidating a man to be terrified of being on the wrong side.
Well, they'll withdraw access. Like,
there are limits to what they can withdraw, though.
I don't think there's...
I don't think RTE can be out-muscled by Jim Gavin in their infinite resources and being...
Even if they withdraw access, what are we losing?
Nothing, absolutely nothing.
It's so bland and vanilla anyway.
100%.
That's almost entertaining though in
balance,
itself. The Brian Fenton post-match interview on the big screen yesterday was hilarious. It was like, how many platitudes can this guy serve without saying anything whatsoever, and was very impressive, which was almost his biggest achievement yesterday. But just on that, kind of on the malice point, like I've made the Sergio Ramos comparison earlier on, and I don't think the comparison just stops with how he got refereed or anything like that. I think you could almost make a very direct comparison to what happened with Mo Salah in the Champions League final, that the consequence does not have to match what the defender was trying to do. You can't say Sergio Ramos was trying to kill Mo Salah and end his dreams of appearing in the World Cup. The same could be said of Jonny Cooper. He wanted to make a hard challenge on the player. He didn't intend to hit him in the face.
He just wanted to win the ball. Like he didn't go out to do anyone. He didn't go out to do any damage. The ball is there. He actually touches the ball. There's an issue about whether or not the fist is closed or open. But yeah, he has to make the tackle. What else can the defender do? And in a contact sport, if we don't give the benefit of the doubt to the defender, you're going to see, if you give a red for that every week, you'll have 6 reds a week.
What about Cluxon? What about the Cluxon situation?
They were night and day.
No comparison here.
No, he had a second to think about it. The Cooper issue happens in a split second where the first man's beaten. The Longford guy, Desiree Reynolds, is bearing down on goal. He has to get across and try put a hand in.
Yeah,
this guy had a second to think, plan, and then looks at him in the air and goes for it.
Yeah, he could have pulled out. That's the issue for me with that one. That's like the first time you see it actually in the live, it didn't actually look as bad to me as it did in the replay, and then you see the elbow. Once you see the elbow going out, it's like, nah, off you go.
For me, that's a straight red, and Jonny Cooper one was a yellow card. I think.
I agree with that.
A very simple. I don't think there's a debate over whether malice is involved, because you can debate that until the cows go home or whatever, go home or come home. I'm not sure which one they do. But
the draw is coming through. It's Tip against Mayo, Tipperary are at home. Ooh. It's Waterford against Monaghan. It is Cavan against Down. It's Carlow against Tyrone. This is all the hallmarks of Tyrone licking their wounds all the way back to Croke Park in All-Ireland semi-final day. So it's going to be Offaly versus Clare. There you go. They're on a run. They're on a run. So there's only a few more teams left to come in that one.
Well, Tip Mayo straight away is one that sticks out. Obviously, Tip licking their wounds big time from what happened to them against Cork.
That'll be in Thurles.
And it's going to be in Thurles, which obviously Mayo have made so many trips to Munster at this point. It's going to just start getting old for them. Mayo are going to win that game, but it's going to be probably to tie it around at the same time. Like, there is no way you can see. Is there any legitimate argument you can make that Tipperary are going to return from what happened against Cork to actually stop a Mayo team that were pretty rampant at the weekend? The only thing you could say is that Thurles gives them that opportunity. But
it's Longford versus Kildare, and it is Sligo versus whoever's left.
Armagh, sorry.
There you go.
Sligo Armagh. That's is it an underwhelming draw again? It's only round 2. It's great.
Yeah, you needed Mayo Monaghan, didn't you?
What?
We needed to get Mayo against Monaghan, and we needed to get Tyrone versus somebody good.
Yeah, maybe, but I think Mayo Tip is still a decent fixture. It's going to be televised probably. Like, it's going to go down to one of these sort of Mayo-esque games over the last 2 summers where they almost get knocked out, but at the same time they'll pull through. Is that what we're going to expect here?
If you have to ask if it's underwhelming, it's probably underwhelming.
Yeah, that's probably a good point.
You think Dublin aren't being refereed any differently than anybody else?
Based on that one particular instance?
Well, just generally, there's a sense big teams get it against smaller teams. Now, in fairness, there was a clear black card at the end, which was after the last black card that was given. That would have been a red card for the guy who had actually elbowed Fenton in the head, which probably could have been a red card as well. I don't know. I mean,
I think
are elbows in the head not a red card? Like, when did an elbow in the head become? It's only a yellow.
I think we have to have a little bit of sympathy for referees, because they have got a grueling over the last 2 weeks because of a number of high-profile mistakes in football and hurling. But I don't think that referees are that weak-minded that when Jim Gavin talks, they decide to ref Dublin differently. Like, I think we would certainly benefit from hearing more from them and hearing their point of view more. But it's an awful slight to suggest that they're deliberately giving Dublin a free ride just because Jim Gavin had a moan about it a few months ago.
I don't think they're doing it deliberately, but subconsciously that stuff does.
But how weak-minded would you have to be to listen to a man?
It's not weak-minded.
It's human being,
It's human nature. You absorb your surroundings. If that was the case, you know, why would you bother having any kind of team talk if you don't absorb things?
There have
Croke Park
been
scenario has to be
hundreds
factored
of
in here.
articles about the fact that Dublin are a cynical team and Dublin live on the edge. And every time you mention a Philly McMahon or a Johnny Cooper, the second or third thing they note is, yeah, he lives on the edge, he lives dangerously. There is no way that that doesn't seep in. So it works on both sides. If it works that Jim Gavin can manage to seep into referees' minds, well, obviously, I mean, it's been referenced that Dublin defenders are tough tackling and oftentimes sail very, very close to the wind. How is that not making the same impact on the referees?
I don't think it's anything bad to be sailing very close to the wind. If anything, that's to be commended, to be able to play within the rules.
But that's a euphemism for they're cheaters and they get away with it.
You may take it that way. I would take somebody sailing close to the wind as somebody who goes in a bit hard, but at the same time wouldn't be punching or, you know, elbows and faces and things. There's a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I would think, though, that if referees are going to be influenced by what Jim Gavin says and moans about in the media and the way that his team are covered, they will certainly be influenced by Dublin detractors who think that, I mean, I think Eamon Fitzmaurice came out last year and said that they weren't a cynical team, but they knew how to do the dark arts.
Well, that was kind of more in relation to somebody saying that Dublin were whiter than white or something, and Eamon Fitzmaurice was like, hold on a minute here, why are we praising this Dublin team for being disciplinary kings here? That couldn't be further from the truth, was actually what kind of sparked that at the time. I think the Croke Park factor it is a fair point, and I think the Croke Park factor has to be factored in when it comes to refereeing decisions. I think when you're saying that a team sails close to the wind, eventually the wind will get you, and Dublin have never been got by the wind, is what I'm saying.
There's a wind coming, is what I hear.
Exactly. All it is just that chip.
Gale force is somewhere.
They know exactly how far they can shake, and
Coming from the southwest, is it?
They're navigating it absolutely exceptionally.
4-7 on the Beaufort scale.
The Gulf Stream has never got Dublin yet, but you fear every time you watch them. Not that I fear, but you would fear if you were a Dublin fan that they're going to get got eventually. But we're 4 years down the road now, and it's not going to happen. They play it absolutely perfectly.